Part 2 of the Arangieskop mountain road covers the middle section of the descent. If you intend driving this pass, it's very important to watch Part 1 first, which contains the orientation animations as well as important information on safety, history and tourism. If you decide to drive this route in a group, it's important on the steeper sections to allow some space between your vehicle and the one ahead of you, particularly at the hairpin bends, and keep your momentum and revs up, and most importantly, don't ride your clutch as it can easily burn out on these steep gradients. There are no less than 43 bends, corners and curves to keep drivers honest, and of these 5 are in excess of 150 degrees or full hairpin bends. If you decide to stop anywhere on this descent, make absolutely sure that you fully engaged your handbrake. As a secondary precaution, switch off your engine and leave your vehicle in first or reverse gear. There are too many stories all over South Africa's passes of unnecessary accidents happening because someone forgot to put their handbrake up. Throughout the descent, you'll be able to enjoy the wide and beautiful views of the Koo Valley. Koo Products is the tin food brand with a 75-year history in South Africa. It's the biggest name in the Tiger brand stable, with an offering that includes more than 100 different products, amongst those baked beans, canned fruit, spaghetti, beetroot and creamed sweet corn. The Koo name has an emotive association that cuts across all ages and income levels in South Africa. Its history dates back to the economic depression of the 1930s, when the poor price of peaches led to a group of farmers to form a single entity then known as the Koöperasie. This is Afrikaans for cooperative and the forerunner of today's brand name. This created sufficient capital to start a canning plant which enabled the peaches to be kept fresh for a prolonged period and more easily transported and sold. The nearest town to the Koo Valley is of course Montague. The town was cut off from the main trek routes due to the seemingly difficult nature of Kochman's Kloof, and it wasn't until Thomas Paine built the pass and the tunnel that trade began to develop in the area. In 1841, Montague was laid out on the farm Uitvlucht, and in 1852, John Montague, the colonial secretary of the Cape, visited the infant town. In 1855, the first school was opened, and 2 years later, a contract was signed for the building of a church designed by George Burkett. In 1873, the Montague Hot Springs began charging a tikkie for using the baths. This was the equivalent of 2.5 pence. Their use obviously goes back to time immemorial, with traces of early man having been found in the nearby caves. Montague banknotes were printed and issued from 1861 till the demise of the bank in 1868. The bank was in the building now occupied by a firm of attorneys on Bath Street. In 1877, Thomas Paine built the tunnel and the new road through Kochman's Kloof. Between 1902 and 1985, the Brink Brothers enterprises were of major significance to the town. Their activities included general dealers, a bottling works, a canning factory, dried fruit production, as well as a department store. In 1936, Montague was declared a health resort. This resulted in an influx of wealthy people purchasing holiday houses. At one time, Montague boasted 5 millionaires. In 1941, the Montague Muscadel Cooperative was formed, with 15 members present at the first meeting. The development can be gauged by the fact that in 1944, 800 tons of grapes were processed, and in 1991, that figure had grown to 11,000 tons. One of the main attractions in the town are of course the hot springs. On the 25th of January 1981, disaster struck Montague in the form of a flood which swept away the entire baths complex, stripped the kloof of all vegetation and altered the course of the Casey River to such an extent that the beautiful walking trail through the kloof was completely obliterated and Lovers Walk was also destroyed. However, the municipality investigated all venues until a developer was found who gave Montague Springs its present new look, and reconstruction of the hotel had already been commenced by a local hotelier. Lovers Walk has subsequently been painstakingly built up, with spacious lawns which fringe the walk and past the beautiful cliffs, and leads past Asen House, which is the old mill, and through the Baths Kloof to the hot springs themselves. Many trees have been planted, and the enchanting beauty of the most charming walk can once again be enjoyed to the full. Be sure to watch part 3 and the final video in this series on the Arangieskop mountain road.